Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Doug High.
A wonderful meal treats you all. Yeah? Seasons, they never disappoint. I'll share with you just real quick. I closed out my 23-year Navy Reserve career right here at the Aviation Museum of Kentucky just a few weeks ago, and I want to thank them all for just incredible hospitality, that same love and sense of community. We're feeling it here tonight. So thank you all for being here. This has just been a wonderful evening, and we have so much to share with you. Each year, the Kentucky Aviation Achievement Award is given to a group of individual who has shown through their actions an outstanding commitment to the preservation or promotion of aviation or aerospace in Kentucky. This year's award will be going to Aerospace Composites Solutions. And at one time, aluminum was a critical material in the aviation community. The first commercial aircraft, nearly 70% aluminum. Strong and lightweight, aluminum was an inexpensive way to manufacture high-quality aircraft. Now, however, aluminum makes up only 20% of modern aircraft. Carbon fiber and other composite metals have taken its place. But Aerospace Composite Solutions, based in Morgantown, Kentucky, stands at the forefront of the composite manufacturing industry in the United States. And tonight, we recognize their achievements. So let's take a moment to learn more about Aerospace Composites Solutions.
In November 2009, a bold vision took shape in Morgantown, Kentucky. Aerospace Composite Solutions, ACS, was founded with a specific mission to develop a composite cowling for the Cessna 208B Caravan aircraft as part of the Black Hawk Aerospace Engines Upgrade Program. For decades, aluminum had been the backbone of aircraft construction. However, revolutionary new composite materials were transforming the aviation industry, and it's these materials that ACS would be using. So what exactly are composite materials? They can be thought of as the ultimate engineering partnership, combining two or more different materials to create something with entirely new properties. In aviation, this typically refers to high-strength carbon fibers woven into sheets and embedded in polymer matrix, such as epoxy resin. Carbon fiber on its own consists of strands of carbon, the same element that gives diamonds their extraordinary strength. These fibers are incredibly strong, and their use is game-changing. For example, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner is composed of 50% composite materials by weight, resulting in 20% better fuel efficiency compared to traditional engines. From wings to fuselages to entire airframes, composites offer the ideal combination of lightweight strength and exceptional durability. This isn't just the future of aviation and aerospace, it's happening right now, revolutionizing how we fly. ACS's sophisticated aerospace manufacturing operation demonstrates that innovation and excellence can thrive in the heart of Kentucky. Aerospace Composite Solutions relocated to its new $18 million facility in 2025. It's a 150,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility where customers provide engineering designs and the skilled team brings them to life with precision. But they're more than just manufacturers. These engineers provide design for manufacturing expertise, helping customers bring their visions to life in a more efficient and manufacturable way. In ACS's clean, well-lit, climate-controlled manufacturing environment, they build components that serve critical missions. The domestically sourced materials meet the demanding specifications for military and certified programs, supporting everything from defense systems to global firefighting operations. Customers are often surprised to discover such advanced aerospace capabilities in rural Kentucky, but that surprise quickly turns to appreciation. The company focuses on building long-term collaborative partnerships rather than short-term transactions, creating relationships where ACS's success is tied to its customers' success. Word of mouth remains their strongest marketing tool, proof of the trust they've built in an industry where precision and reliability are literally matters of life and death. The company's approach to building its workforce is refreshingly straightforward. They prefer to hire people with no previous composite experience. They have found that workers from other companies often brought preconceived notions and bad habits that were difficult to unlearn. Instead, they focus on finding the right people with strong work ethics who are willing to learn because everything else can be taught. This innovative philosophy has produced truly remarkable results. The company actively recruits students for co-op positions, many of whom advance to leadership roles within the team. The outcome speaks volumes, an outstanding turnover rate of just 8%. That's a stark contrast to the manufacturing industry average of 45%. The company has effectively drawn in second-generation employees as the children of current workers enthusiastically join the team. This reflects the exceptional long-term opportunities the company offers, demonstrating its ability to retain young talent. Such loyalty underscores the company's commitment to fostering a thriving work environment that appeals to the next generation. And Kentucky isn't just where Aerospace Composite Solutions is located, it's central to their identity and success. The ACS management team has garnered robust support from local and state chambers of commerce, the mayor of Morgantown, and representatives from Kentucky, Frankfort, and Washington, D.C. Their commitment to investing in the Morgantown community underscores a powerful belief in its potential. Kentucky possesses distinct strategic advantages, including proximity to Fort Campbell, strong backing from regional banks and stakeholders, and unparalleled access to major markets, all while fostering the personal connections that drive successful business relationships. This small-town atmosphere not only enhances the quality of life, but also attracts and retains the exceptional talent essential for thriving in precision aerospace manufacturing. Through partnerships with local high schools, the University of Louisville, and the Kentucky Manufacturing Extension Partnership, they're building the next generation of aerospace professionals right here in Kentucky. Aerospace Composite Solutions is poised for an ambitious decade ahead, strategically targeting the defense, aerospace, and firefighting sectors. Their focus on securing long-term contract positions allows them to be a key player in these critical markets, ensuring sustainable growth and innovation. From humble beginnings with engine cowlings to a thriving operation supporting global missions, Aerospace Composite Solutions proves that when innovation meets community support, extraordinary things take flight. It is therefore fitting that Aerospace Composite Solutions, a company where Kentucky values meet aerospace excellence, be presented with the 2025 Kentucky Aviation Achievement Award.
How wonderful that this is happening in Kentucky. Isn't that incredible, folks? My goodness. Another round of applause for ACE. And to present ACE, we have the privilege of welcoming Bill Smertick. Bill's one of the original founding partners of Aerospace Composite Solutions, formerly known as Black Hawk Composites, and today he holds the title of Director of Manufacturing and is the resident subject matter expert in composites materials. Since 2009, Bill has played a vital role in growing ACS from a handful of employees in a very small, very old former textile factory to almost 80 employees today in a brand new 150,000 plus square foot manufacturing facility that we just saw. He's dedicated to the success of ACS and creating a legacy of great jobs for the community of Morgantown. So to accept the award on behalf of ACS, we want to introduce you as well to Matt Sheeman. Matt is the current president and CEO, has a majority shareholder of Aerospace Composite Solutions, and over the last 40 years, he has invested in companies operating within the aviation and commercial finance space. Matt's an original founder and investor in Black Hawk, served as chairman as Black Hawk business units for 23 years. And in 2023, he and his partner purchased the Black Hawk Composites division, which became Aerospace Composite Solutions, as we know it and have seen it today. Matt's commitment to the industry, people, and community of Morgantown is unwavering, and he's excited about the bright future ahead at ACS. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bill Smertick.
Hello, my name is Bill Smertick. I'm one of the founding partners of Aerospace Composite Solutions. I'm so pleased to be here to celebrate all the 2025 winners this evening. We are certainly in good company. Since November 2009, ACS, formerly known as Blackhawk Composites, has been making composites parts for the aerospace and defense industries, all while tucked away in a tiny old facility that used to house a sewing factory in Morgantown, Kentucky. Unlike at Cheers, where everybody knows your name, back then, nobody knew ours. Over the last 16 years, the small ACS team, we started with less than 10 employees, and I have seen many ups and downs, enjoyed wins and suffered losses, but we never lost our focus on providing the highest quality parts for our customers, creating a great place to work for our employees, and being good community partners. In January of 2023, ACS came under new majority ownership. Since that time, we have built a beautiful new state-of-the-art manufacturing facility, hired some very talented leaders, new team members, and expanded our business model to now include parts manufacturer approval, PMA, for recoil aerial firefighting systems. We've also grown from a team of 34 to 77 employees. We have plans to almost double that within the next 24 months. Much of this recent success can be attributed to the new owners of ACS, who provide not only financial backing, but decades of experience and share the vision of growing local talent and making global impact. Our owners have a passion for this industry and are fully committed to creating a legacy of stable employment for the people and community of Morgantown and for the region. I can't explain how proud and grateful I am to have been part of this since the beginning. I'm very honored and humbled to stand here today. It is with great pleasure that I now introduce to you Matt Sheeman, President, CEO, and majority shareholder for ACS, who will accept this 2025 Aviation Achievement Award on our behalf.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very honored to be standing up here in front of you and really appreciate the recognition. As you've heard other people, I'm Matt Sheeman, president of the company, shareholder. Along with Bill and I, we're here tonight with other key members of our team, Melissa Garner, senior vice president of HR and administration, as well as Eric Morton, senior vice president of operations and manufacturing. On behalf of our company and our 77 employees, I want to first say thank you and express our sincere gratitude to the Aviation Museum of Kentucky and the Kentucky Aviation Hall of Fame for this tremendous honor and the opportunity to celebrate with you tonight as a 2025 Aviation Achievement Award winner. Although Bill attributed much of the recent growth and success to new ownership, I have a different perspective. My partners and I saw subject matter expertise. We see pride in workmanship, we see passion, and we saw a deep commitment to the community, to our employees, and to each other. We saw a very talented team, hardworking, dedicated people who value relationships, who want more than a job, who want to make a difference with the products and services they provide. We also saw opportunity. We saw opportunity to continue to build on strong yet humble beginnings and to grow this business with a clear vision of growing local talent and making a global impact. We saw opportunity to partner with aerospace and defense customers in new ways with our greater capacity and new technology at our new facility in Morgantown. We saw an opportunity to partner with local school systems, colleges, and universities, and with local, state, and federal government and other agencies for support and resources. We saw an opportunity to grow and develop people to have positive returns for not only themselves, but also for their families for years to come. We saw these opportunities because of the talent, vision, and passion of people like Bill and the talented team at ACS. The company has already come a very long way since January of 2023. We are proud of past successes and achievements, but we are most excited about what is next. Our eye is on the future, and we believe the best is yet to come. Again, our sincerest thanks to Aviation Museum of Kentucky and the Kentucky Aviation Hall of Fame. We are humbled by this opportunity to be recognized and be among the list of past winners who have helped to build aviation, aerospace, and defense as the largest exporter in the state of Kentucky. I proudly accept this award on behalf of ACS and our team. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill and Matt, for the work you're doing in your support of the Commonwealth. Now, let us honor those Kentuckians who have been elected for enshrinement into the Kentucky Aviation Hall of Fame. By their work, their leadership, their perseverance, they have furthered the Commonwealth's contributions to aviation and aerospace. Ladies and gentlemen, our first enshrinee is Brigadier General Fred Bradley. Fred F. Bradley enjoyed a 38-year military career, mastering numerous aircraft, serving in Vietnam, and rising to the rank of Brigadier General. Beside that, he was a statesman who served in the Kentucky Senate, a leading thoroughbred horse breeder, an entrepreneur, and a man who never met a stranger. So let's take a moment to learn more about the life of Brigadier General Fred Bradley.
Fred Bradley's life was a journey measured not only in miles and hours flown, but in the people he touched, the communities he served, and the values he lived every single day. Born April 26, 1931 in Evansville, Indiana, Fred grew up in Providence, Kentucky, a place where the rhythm of small-town life was shaped by the newspaper his father, James Bradley, published and the values his family instilled. Frugality, punctuality, hard work, these weren't just lessons taught at home, they became the foundation of a lifetime. At Providence High School, Fred excelled academically, graduating as a valedictorian. By the time he reached the University of Kentucky, his ambition was already paired with a sense of purpose. In 1953, he graduated with a degree in journalism, serving as editor of the school publication, The Kentuckian. He was commissioned through Air Force ROTC as a distinguished graduate, an early recognition of his leadership potential. That same year, he entered the United States Air Force. Training took him across the country, from Lackland in Texas to Graham in Florida to Greenville in Mississippi and Perrin in Texas. By 1954, Fred had earned his wings and stepped into the role of fighter pilot with the Air Defense Command at Larson Air Force Base in Washington State. In 1956, he returned to Kentucky to pursue a law degree, which he earned with honors in 1959, balancing his legal studies with his commitment to the Kentucky Air National Guard. In 1967, he volunteered to fly a McDonnell F-101 Voodoo from California to Vietnam, serving in combat during the war. Just months later, during the tense days of the Pueblo crisis, he was recalled for 16 months of active duty. His assignments took him from Stanford Field in Louisville to the Panama Canal Zone, Alaska, and Japan. Each post brought new responsibilities: flight commander, detachment leader, squadron commander. Fred's ascent through the ranks was steady and earned. By 1974, he commanded the 123rd Tactical Reconnaissance Wing. In 1977, he was promoted to Brigadier General. His leadership was defined by precision, readiness, and an unwavering commitment to the mission. By the time he retired, Fred had served 38 years in the Air Force and Air National Guard, logged more than 4,000 flying hours, and had earned some of the nation's highest honors. But Fred Bradley's life was never confined to the cockpit. He brought the same dedication he showed in uniform to public service in Kentucky. He served as Franklin County Judge and for 16 years in the Kentucky State Senate, where he became the Senate Democratic Whip. Known for his accessibility, Fred always returned phone calls, listened attentively, and respected the people he represented. He believed his duty was to the Commonwealth, not just to his district. He was very proud to have taken 86 bills to the Senate floor, 85 of which were passed. Veterans issues held a special significance for him, and he played a leading role in authorizing legislation for state veterans' nursing homes, tuition assistance for National Guard members, and legal protections for Army and Air National Guard members on state active duty orders. Additionally, he took pride in his contribution to the establishment of the Kentucky History Center in Frankfort. Beyond politics, Fred was an entrepreneur. He owned one of Frankfort's first pizza restaurants, ran Fred's fast freight trucking company for nearly 3 decades, and embraced ventures with the same energy he brought to military service. And then there were the horses. Fred's passion for racing began at a young age, nurtured by time he spent with his father at Ellis Park. Over the years, he became a prominent owner and breeder in the industry, achieving recognition as a multiple graded stakes winning owner with 467 starts and nearly $3 million in earnings. At his Indian Ridge farm in Franklin, Kentucky, Fred bred and raised some of racing's brightest stars. Notable among them were Brass Hat, a Kentucky-bred Grade 1 stakes winner, and Groupie Doll, a 2-time champion female sprinter. Fred consistently shared the credit for their success, always acknowledging the dedicated team that supported him. Those who knew Fred remember more than his titles and accomplishments. They remember his humor, his wit, and his genuine interest in people. His son Buff described him as disciplined but warm, a man who never met a stranger. Fred could work a political reception one night and swap stories in a barn the next morning with equal ease. He was a devoted husband and father. When his late wife Betty faced a long illness, Fred cared for her with steadfast devotion. Family was never secondary to duty. It was part of the same code that guided his entire life. Fred Bradley went west on May 20th, 2016, at the age of 85. He left behind his wife Kay, 4 children, 12 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren, along with an enduring legacy that spans far beyond Kentucky's borders. He's remembered as Brigadier General Fred Bradley, pilot, commander, public servant, horseman, entrepreneur, and friend. His story is a testament to the idea that service is not limited to the years spent in uniform. It's a way of living. It is therefore fitting that Brigadier General Fred F. Bradley, who lived a life of purpose, leadership, and generosity, be enshrined into the Kentucky Aviation Hall of Fame.
Well, we are standing on the shoulders of legends, aren't we? Let's have another round of applause for the Brigadier. And here to receive the award on behalf of General Bradley, Ann Merchant, his daughter, and his granddaughter, Corey Jones. Let's welcome them.
Good evening. You all covered a lot. I didn't know I learned some new things about my dad tonight. I love my dad. He loved God. He loved his family. He loved serving the country and the community. He loved horses. He also loved the sound of the very first pour coming out of a newly opened Maker's Mark bottle. He lived life to the fullest every day. He played golf, tennis, ran road races, bred and raced thoroughbreds. He practiced law, opened Frankfort's first pizza restaurant, owned and operated a trucking company, served as county judge and state senator, was active with the Episcopal Men's Club as well as many other community organizations. He even wrote a song that was recorded by the Statler brothers. So I've got to circle back to him opening Frankfort's first pizza restaurant. He was pretty creative with his advertising. He would run an ad each Friday in the local paper with specials such as rabbit pizza on Easter, turkey pizza on Thanksgiving, snowball pizza on Christmas. During this time, he flew out to visit friends in California, And he said he went to a bar, and he said that's where he was introduced to topless waitresses. So he thinks, okay, I'm going to go back to Frankfurt, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to have a topless waitress at my pizza place. So he comes back to town, and he puts an ad in the paper, has the biggest crowd ever. Lots of men, included preachers, police officers. So the night goes on, you know, he's making a fortune. He set off selling his 15-cent Diet Pepsis, and but he said the crowd was getting restless, and they wanted him to bring out that topless waitress. So finally he does. So here I come out, 20 months old, in my diaper, blonde hair, carrying a pizza. So a lot of people were mad about that, but then he said, you know, they knew they shouldn't have been there in the first place. So anyway. However, serving in the Air Force in the Kentucky Air National Guard was one of the greatest loves of his life for so many reasons, but mainly because he was able to serve his country, and he was also able to get paid for what was the ultimate thrill of his life, flying fighter jets. I remember as a kid him being on the horse farm and Fred coming for a flyover, and he came in really hard and fast, turned the burners on, and it was just a great thrill for us as kids to be able to see that. My dad would have been extremely humbled by this honor of enshrinement into the Kentucky Aviation Hall of Fame. My family and I are also humbled and very appreciative. He wrote an autobiography in 2006 and ended his book with a variation of a phrase that is popular among pilots, so I'll leave you with that. Happy takeoffs in all of life, and especially landings. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ann Merchant and Corey Jones are now receiving the medallion inscribed in the name of Brigadier General Fred F. Bradley, who is now declared duly enshrined in the Kentucky Aviation Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ann and Corey. Let's have another round of applause. While most teenage girls in small-town Kentucky were learning to drive, Sheila Farmer Wagner was learning to fly airplanes, a family tradition passed down from her World War II-era pilot mother. From those early flights to becoming the first and only Kentuckian to win the 1997 Air Race Classic, the annual transcontinental air race for female pilots. In 1997, Sheila's competitive spirit and unwavering determination proved that for women in aviation, the sky was never the limit. Let's take a few moments to look at the life and accomplishments of Sheila Farmer Wagner.
While most teenagers in small-town Kentucky were learning to drive cars, 16-year-old Sheila Farmer was learning to fly airplanes. For Sheila, this wasn't unusual at all. Why wouldn't a woman fly? Her mother, Irene Farmer Napier, had been trained as a pilot on a Civil Air Patrol scholarship just before World War II ended. Aviation was not a barrier to break in the Farmer household. It was simply the family tradition. Sheila married William Harry Wagner in 1961 when she was just 17. They would have 5 daughters together and build a life that balanced family with Sheila's growing passion for flight. In 1970, while the family was living in St. Louis, Sheila took flying lessons at Spirit of St. Louis Airport and earned her pilot's license. She then convinced her husband Harry to learn as well, and they began sharing their love of aviation. The Wagners owned a share of a Piper Warrior that became the family's vehicle for adventure. Spring break trips to Florida and the Bahamas weren't taken by car, but by air, with Sheila and Harry splitting the flying duties. The 5 Wagner daughters grew up at the airport, considering it perfectly normal for women to be pilots. But for Sheila, simply flying was not enough. She was highly competitive by nature and wanted more than recreational flying. In 1977, living in Lexington, Kentucky, she discovered air racing when she and fellow pilots Skip Gumbert and Kay Moore entered an all-woman transcontinental air race. This was the beginning, and Sheila was hooked on the challenge and competition of air racing. Whenever possible, she would participate in various racing competitions, always driven by her competitive spirit and love of the challenge. Then came 1997. Sophia Payton, a friend and colleague, called and asked if Sheila would be her partner and co-pilot in the Air Race Classic. Sheila was thrilled, having wanted to team with this experienced racer for a number of years. The race ran from Boise, Idaho to Knoxville, Tennessee, a total of 2,700 statute miles over 13 states. The preparation was intense and methodical. They studied maps, memorized terrain and obstacles, hired a weather consultant, and practiced extensively. The race route took them across the country with mandatory and optional checkpoints. Strategic planning was crucial, including making hotel reservations at every possible stop in advance, then canceling if they could fly further than they planned. During one stop, 2 young girls asked Sheila for her autograph. They were excited to learn that women of all ages, from college students to those in their 90s, were participating in the race. It was excellent publicity for women in aviation and demonstrating that age was no barrier to pursuing their dreams of flying. After landing in Knoxville before the deadline, came the moment they'd worked so hard for, the call announcing they had won. Sheila Wagner became the first and still only Kentuckian to win the Air Race Classic. The victory was especially sweet because she had dreamed of teaming with Sophia Payton for years, and their preparation and teamwork had paid off perfectly. This achievement was significant because Sheila's competitive spirit ran in the family. She once flew a race with her diabetic mother, Irene. When Irene didn't eat enough during the race and passed out in the cockpit, Sheila immediately landed to get help. When Irene was revived, her first words were asking why they'd stopped when they were winning. Throughout her flying career, Sheila balanced her passion for aviation with raising her 5 daughters. This wasn't always easy, as racing required finding co-pilots, securing an aircraft, and managing costs that weren't always practical for a busy mother. Sheila was a devoted member of the 99s, the International Organization of Women Pilots, finding lifelong friendships within this community. The organization was the center of her social world among fellow aviators who shared her passion for flight. The women supported each other, had fun together, and were smart, competitive, and fearless in their flying pursuits. The example Sheila set was not lost on her daughters. Several took flying lessons themselves, carrying forward the family tradition, even if they did not pursue careers in aviation. They learned that having restrictions was unacceptable and that it was possible to fly, both literally and figuratively. Sheila logged over 1,200 hours during her flying career, earning her private pilot's license with an instrument rating. She flew various aircraft on trips across the country and to the Bahamas. Her passion for aviation was evident to everyone who knew her. When she passed away unexpectedly in 2011 at the age of 66, Sheila left behind 5 daughters, 5 grandchildren, and a legacy that proved aviation truly opened up opportunities for women. She had demonstrated that with determination, preparation, and competitive spirit, the sky was indeed the limit. It is therefore fitting that Sheila Farmer Wagner, whose legacy continues to inspire new generations of women to reach for the clouds and pursue their dreams in aviation without accepting limitations, be enshrined in the Kentucky Aviation Hall of Fame.
Gone far too soon, but her legacy will outlast all of us. It's just incredible. Our presenter is Kay Combs Moore, a longtime museum member, and as you saw in the video, a longtime friend of Sheila Wagner's. Now, at one point, a dental products company, the John O. Butler Company, became a sponsor, and together they flew with the team name of the Tooth Fairies to help promote the company. So accepting the award on behalf of the family will be Sheila's daughter, Ruth Zilberstein. Please join me in welcoming Kay Combs Moore. Kay.
Well, we've already heard a lot about Sheila. Of course, her family want me to tell those secrets. That I'll have to do in private. But people wanted me to tell something funny. Well, Sheila and I did, when we were doing the Powder Puff Derby, did not have an instrument rating. And here we are, heading out to California to get in the race. So that was a challenge. And I wanted to stop at the places that we had to be in the race. And one was Dallas Love. I'd never been to Dallas Love. So we had flown all that day. We were tired. And Sheila had been taking instrument training, as I had. And I was flying, and she kept calling Dallas Love Approach, and they weren't answering. And we were getting closer and closer. We need to land. And she said everything that you should say, very professional. And all of a sudden, to the controller and my surprise, she did this high-pitched voice. Dallas Love, we're two little powder puffers out here, and we need your help. Roger, we got our landing instructions. So that was an experience. And then we went on to California. And the main thing you need to do is have a clean airplane when you're going to race. So there we were in all that heat trying to clean that airplane, but we did it. This was the last Powder Puff Derby in 1977, and it was a commemorative race, and they encouraged us to take passengers. So Skip Gumbert went as our passenger. And the main thing we had to do was get clothes ready for this trip. And we spent more time getting clothes ready than flying with each other. So Skip was smart. She decided to go out commercial and let Sheila and I learn to fly with each other going out there. So Butler Toothbrush in Chicago was my sponsor for $3,000. In '77, that was a lot of money. And so we had a sign on the plane saying Butler Tooth Fairies, and we were the Tooth Fairies. They sent toothbrushes out to California for all the racers, because what do you do when you leave home? You forget your toothbrush. So they all appreciated that in their goodie bags. So we left out, but this was not a speed race. It was a commemorative race, and they had a different contest each leg. Well, we made it all the way to Tampa, Florida, finally, and all of our husbands were there to greet us, and we had new outfits to wear across the stage to get our little trophy and our certificate for being participants in the Powder Puff Derby, the final Powder Puff Derby. So after that, it was the Air Race Classic, and that's what Sheila wanted to do. Where I was more interested in getting my awards and seeing places, Sheila wanted to race. And if she wasn't in a race, she was helping with the race stops. In 2008, Frankfurt had accepted a stop. And then when it got time for it, they realized they didn't know what they were supposed to do. So I had to call Sheila and get her to be the stop chairman. And then another friend from Owensboro came up because she had raced, and they handled it. Because I was a dental hygienist and I had patients scheduled way in advance, I couldn't go over until that night, you know. So the bad part about that stop was the legislator had a special call meeting, and they had taken all the nice hotels. So we had to put all those racers that got stranded in Frankfurt in hotels that I didn't know about, but then they got off the next day. But Sheila was always there to help whenever we needed her. Miss her big time. But I knew Dr. Wagner first. I was doing my student teaching at UK, and my husband was flying A4 out of Da Nang, Vietnam. So I went to a specialist at Fort Knox, and I got assigned to Captain William Harry Wagner. And all of a sudden, we keep talking, and he says, well, my wife and I are pilots. So when he got out of the service, he came and practiced here in Lexington. And then Sheila and I got in the 99s together in 72. And we've been friends till she passed away. If you don't know what a 99 is, in 1929, the men would not let us be in their air races. We had the vote, but they wouldn't let us be in their races. So we had one ourselves from California to Cleveland. And after that, they realized, we need to organize and promote women in aviation. So 99 organized, and Amelia Earhart was the first president. So Sheila and I were very proud to be in the Kentucky Bluegrass 99s.
Hi, I'm Sheila's youngest, and one of my earliest memories was going in the back of the plane with my mom and Kay when they go flying, and I was probably, 3, because I was born in Fort Knox, and they would go flying and throw me in the back of the plane to take a nap, and they'd take off and do their thing. So on behalf of myself and my sisters, I'd like to thank the members of the Aviation Museum of Kentucky, and of course Kay and Carolyn, who are all here. My mom's partners in crime and staunchest cheerleaders until this day. So we appreciate everybody that's here and recognizing our mother. Mother is definitely tickled Kentucky blue, her favorite color if you knew her, to wear anywhere, to receive this honor. She came of age in a time when the world was divided on the role of women. One half said women should step into their power, and the other that their place was at home. It was a delicate tightrope. It was a world that told her that her value was derived from making babies and being a doctor's wife, who made it out of the mountains of southeastern Kentucky. Yet somehow she managed to do it all. And she didn't just step into her power. She flew right into it, with bare feet, no less, because that's how she preferred to work the rudder pillars without shoes on, because she felt it gave her more control. So tonight, we celebrate, yes, that she was the only woman so far to accomplish this incredible accomplishment of the Air Race Classic and do these amazing things and be an incredible mother and really teach us how to have a different worldview. And that is important. But the thing that we can all take away, and the question my mother offers all of us, is what dream can we each be stubborn enough to make happen for ourselves, in spite of any opposition? We're all here to fly, and like my mother, we just need to find our wings. So thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ruth Silberstein is now receiving the medallion inscribed in the name of her mother, Sheila Farmer Wagner, and is now declared to be duly enshrined in the Kentucky Aviation Hall of Fame.
I regret not having a camera crew here for my television station for these stories, but as the story progressed, I realized it's much bigger than regional or Commonwealth even. I mean, Hollywood has nothing on these stories, am I right? Incredible. Thank you so much. Born in a Kentucky coal town on Valentine's Day, 1918, Ralph Waldo Emerson Webb rose from the mountains to the skies, becoming a decorated World War II hump pilot, master flight instructor and jet age pioneer who logged over 23,000 flight hours across 23 years of service. Impressive. From flying treacherous missions over the Himalayas to commanding KC-135 Stratotankers during the Cold War, Major Webb didn't just make history, he trained generations of airmen who would carry his legacy forward. So let's take a few minutes to review the life and service and accomplishments of Major Ralph W.E. Webb.
In the heart of the Appalachian Mountains on Valentine's Day 1918, Ralph Waldo Emerson Webb was born, the youngest of 10 children in the small coal town of Whitesburg, Kentucky. His father, Nehemiah Webb, was founder and editor of the local newspaper, the Mountain Eagle. His mother, Sarah Ellen, was the family's steadfast center. From these modest beginnings would rise a man whose life would span war zones, jet engines, and history itself. After graduating high school in 1936, Ralph moved to Washington, D.C., attending George Washington University, and began a career as a staff photographer for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in 1938. His lens captured the lives of Americans in hardship, a young man witnessing history and documenting it with compassion. But in 1942, with the world at war, Ralph answered a higher call. He joined the U.S. Army Air Forces, completed officer candidate school at Napier Field in Alabama, and in April 1943 became a second lieutenant. That same month, he married Virginia Ligier of Laurel, Maryland, his partner in life for the next 49 years. Lieutenant Webb was immediately selected for flight training and deployed to the China-Burma-India Theater, where he would join the elite ranks of the Hump pilots. Flying combat and support missions over the Himalayas, Webb braved some of the most dangerous airspace in the world. The work was treacherous, unpressurized cabins, primitive navigation, enemy fire, and brutal weather. His mission saved lives and sustained the Allied effort in Southeast Asia. For his service, he was later inducted into the Hump Pilots Association as a lifelong member. Webb was honorably discharged in September 1945, following the war's end. After returning home, Ralph served briefly as a fireman with the D.C. Fire Department, but the call to duty remained. In June 1948, he was recalled to active duty in the newly established United States Air Force. It was the beginning of a new mission, one that would span the dawn of the jet age, the Cold War, and the birth of modern air power. From 1948 to 1954, now Captain Webb served as a flight instructor at Randolph and Hondo Air Force bases in Texas. He trained both U.S. and foreign pilots in navigation, aerobatics, and emergency procedures. As he advanced through transition training, he mastered complex aircraft including the B-29 Super Fortress and the KC-97 Stratotanker. In 1954 to 1958, he was stationed at Altus Air Force Base in Oklahoma with the 9th Air Refueling Squadron. There he served as aircraft commander and chief of KC Aircraft Standardization. He wasn't just flying missions, he was shaping the standards by which every aircrew operated. In 1958, Captain Webb was assigned to the 3908th Strategic Standardization Group at Barksdale Air Force Base, Louisiana. He conducted ground and air evaluations of combat-ready crews and instructor pilots, always working to enhance readiness, safety, and precision. He served as both operations officer and safety officer, ensuring compliance with every technical order and tactical directive. Then in 1960, he entered the jet age. At Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Webb flew the KC-135 Stratotanker, a groundbreaking aircraft based on the Boeing 707. As squadron commander and senior flight instructor, he oversaw jet refueling operations for America's nuclear bomber and fighter fleets. In the skies, under pressure, in any condition, Major Webb delivered. Major Ralph W.E. Webb retired on May 1, 1965, after over 23 years of military service and more than 23,000 flight hours. His assignments included numerous classified missions critical to U.S. strategic interests. His certification spanned over 17 aircraft, from the Fairchild PT-19 to the KC-135. Decorations included the Bronze Star, the Air Medal with Oak Leaf Cluster, the Distinguished Flying Cross, the National Defense Service Medal, the Air Force Commendation Medal, and many others. Ralph and Virginia Webb were married for 49 years. They raised 2 children, Elizabeth and Jeffrey, and were proud grandparents to Jeffrey D. Hawley. Major Webb passed away on October the 6th, 1995. But his legacy lives on in every pilot he trained, every mission he completed, and in the skies he once ruled. It is therefore fitting that Major Ralph Waldo Emerson Webb, a pilot, a teacher, a warrior, an American airman, be enshrined into the Kentucky Aviation Hall of Fame.
Jeff Webb, Major Webb's son, joins us from his home on the eastern shore of Maryland, the town of Salisbury. Jeff's a retired elementary public school teacher who now enjoys working in the yard and the workshop, married for 54 years to his wife, Sandy, and he's here to accept the award on behalf of the family. Please welcome Jeff Webb.
Good evening. Elementary school people have to have visuals. I'm Jeff Webb, son of Major Ralph Webb. I want to tell you about my father's favorite expression when he was in the Air Force. He would point his finger at me and say, "You're on a need-to-know basis, and you don't need to know." And that was about his location, how long he'd be gone, what he was doing. You don't need to know. But when my dad was at home and off duty, this is what he was like. He was named after his mother's favorite poet, Ralph Waldo Emerson. His father was a school teacher, but decided to start with his reading and writing skills a newspaper called the Mountain Eagle, and that's still being published. As Ralph grew older, he enjoyed helping his father at the newspaper. Here he gained a passion for photography and became proficient with taking pictures and processing negatives into photos. Ralph's mother wasn't happy that he would come home from the newspaper smelly, greasy, and dirty. Sarah convinced her husband that Ralph should stay home and help with the family garden, the horse and the cow. Nehemiah agreed. Mama, as Ralph called his mother, arranged for him to take piano lessons, and Dad enjoyed learning to read and play music. Dad took to music and learned to play not only the piano, but also the accordion and the saxophone. Unfortunately, I never heard him play the accordion, as he pawned it on August the 5th, 1948, to pay the delivery bill for the hospital where I was born. Our dad did teach my older sister, Betty, how to play his alto saxophone, and she played it in her high school orchestra and marching band. Ralph's days at home working in the family garden turned into a lifelong enjoyment of backyard gardening. He created a garden wherever he lived and decorated his garden with, those homemade scarecrows. When stationed in Texas, Dad was the children's Sunday school teacher at the base chapel. Ralph played the piano and had the children sing Sunday school songs. When Ralph was transferred to Oklahoma, he purchased for our family a family Bible and a set of Compton encyclopedias. The person that sold those items to him was my 4th grade teacher. The fact that she was a native of Louisa, Kentucky, that sealed the deal. While we were stationed in Oklahoma, Dad bought his first Buick automobile, and for the remainder of his life, he always bought Buicks, and they always had Kentucky plates on them. Ralph's hobby was working with power tools and hand tools. He enjoyed repairing and fixing items around the house. During his non-flying time, Dad created woodworking projects for my Cub Scout den. He had the Scouts assemble shoe shine kits, key holders, bird houses, wood storage racks for hanging clothes, and someplace in a box I found a key rack that we made in 1957. So, still with us. After Ralph was transferred to Louisiana, he continued 90-day deployments. Back then it was called TDY. On returning, he usually had a gift for each of us. On one occasion, my dad surprised my mom with a string of pearls. He brought my sister a portable electric keyboard. My gift was a model airplane to assemble. But for our family, he had a wooden portrait carved and decorated with our images. When he got back, I knew where he'd been. Japan. I mean, how obvious can it be? I wasn't going to ask you where you've been. I know where you've been. For relaxation, Dad enjoyed reading Life magazine, Reader's Digest, and believe it or not, something called the Sears and Roebuck catalog. If he watched television, which was seldom, it was good old Walter Cronkite's Evening News and Lawrence Wilkes' weekly musical show. When Ralph was transferred to Ohio, he purchased a full-size organ to replace the aging electric keyboard. Ralph and Betty began a new musical adventure with the organ that lasted until each of them passed away. My dad was a role model for our family. He was patient. He was understanding. Ralph's parents and 9 siblings taught him to be honest, trustworthy, and reliable. By the way, he was the baby, so he had 9 helpers. Dad was a loving son as well as a caring and dedicated husband and father. He was a role model for others before, during, and after his military career. I wanted to share something with you tonight, which is a saying by the author Ralph Waldo Emerson. It says, what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. On behalf of the Webb family and all my Kentucky cousins, we sincerely thank the Kentucky Aviation Hall of Fame Committee and all of their staff and volunteers who were involved in recognizing Major Ralph Waldo Emerson Webb's military flying career and accomplishments. With the support of many people, he lived his dreams of flying in the military. I would like to thank the Aviation Museum of Kentucky and the Kentucky Aviation Hall of Fame for their commitment to recognizing Kentucky aviation and aviators. My dad was a very humble person. He would be surprised, but he would be proud to receive this award. To the Kentucky Aviation Hall of Fame, staff and volunteers, thank you. For myself and all the Webb family, it is with honor that I accept my father's induction into the Kentucky Aviation Hall of Fame. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Webb is now receiving the medallion inscribed in the name of his father, Major Ralph Waldo Emerson Webb, who is now declared duly enshrined in the Kentucky Aviation Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Jeff, for being with us tonight. It's always a pleasure to see a family come together for something like this. And welcome to our newest enshrinee. How about a round of applause for all 3? I'm inspired. What an evening. Our special thanks to you, ladies and gentlemen, for gathering here this evening to honor Kentucky's best and brightest. And thanks to the class of 2025, Brigadier General Fred Bradley, Sheila Farmer Wagner, Major Ralph W.E. Webb, and to our Achievement Award winner, Aerospace Composites Solutions. We ask that all those who are honored, please come to the stage at the end of the program for a class picture. And if you've won an item in the silent auction, please see our staff to claim that item. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and good night.